Hi, I'm Matthew Viriapa, and from KOSU, you're listening to Songwriters and Tour Writers. On this episode is singer-songwriter Lance Roark. Lance Roark was singing at an open mic at a bar in Tahlequah one night, and Turnpike Troubadours bassist R.C. Edwards just happened to be in the audience. With Turnpike on hiatus at the time, Edwards asked Roark to join his Americana rock band, R.C. and the Ambers, and when Turnpike returned to the studio, Lance Roark joined R.C. to co-write the song Chipping Mill. Now, as a solo artist, he's toured with Turnpike, as well as Shane Smith and the Castellows. His solo debut album, Bad Reputation, is about evolving and earning a reputation that maybe others perceive as bad. I spoke to him before his release show at Josie Records in Tulsa. There, it was full of people with quite the opposite opinion. And this episode's guest, Lance Roark.
I've seen your face 100 times, smiling memories in my mind. Every time I look, you're not around.
My name's Lance Roark. I'm a singer-songwriter from Tahlequah, Oklahoma, and we're up here at Josie Records today doing a little interview.
Yeah, you're releasing your debut album.
Yes.
Bad Reputation.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you've earned the title?
I had somebody ask me, did I think that I have a bad reputation? And it's kind of funny. I don't, but in some aspects, whenever you're trying to grow, in some people's eyes that maybe don't believe the same way that you do have that bad reputation.
Yeah.
When you're trying to better yourself, and you're getting out of your comfort zone. In other people's eyes, you got a bad reputation. I think that's mainly where the title comes from. Your
last project, though, was called Better Man, so you just thrown in the title or a towel on self-improvement?
No. So I started with Better Man, and that was maybe the beginning of the journey into a person that is trying to scratch and claw their way out of different situations. And then I followed it up with a record called Tin Killer, which gave an insight to the areas that I grew up in and kind of the stories and themes that this particular person was put inside. And then the Bad Reputation is just an evolution of him slowly getting out of that, and he's on the trajectory of becoming and overcoming the places that he was once in.
Trying to find my way to be a better man.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about you coming up from Tahlequah to do this set. Is that where you're originally from?
So yeah, I grew up in the Tahlequah area. I'm from a place called Gore, which is right down the road, maybe 20 minutes. But I grew up going to Tahlequah all the time and floating the Illinois River up there, and then that leads into the Tin Killer Lake that I'm originally from, and so it all ties together. I call all of them home.
What has it been like getting integrated into the very rich Tahlequah music scene?
Oh, it's been pretty incredible. I can say that if I hadn't have been in Tahlequah at the right time, that I would probably still be playing smaller shows and just trying to work my way into the Oklahoma scene. But Tahlequah definitely solidified my spot maybe in the Oklahoma music scene for me.
Yeah, I talked to RC when Turnpike had that hiatus, and he was talking about forming his own band and everything.
Yeah,
he talked about just coming across you at like an open mic.
Yeah. I met him in a bar called Ned's, and I had just wrote Searching with my wife Hannah, and RC was inside of the crowd one evening, and he sat me down and he was like, "Man, you got a band?" I said, "Yeah, I got a band." He's like, "Well, I'd love if you played guitar for me." Turnpike was during their hiatus at the time. I said, "Yeah, of course." And so 2 or 3 days later, I had learned his whole record and played it with him, and ever since then we've just been playing together and writing songs together.
Been searching for so long for a place to call my home. Been looking all around for a place that I could go. Then he walked in my life that changed all of my hope.
Ever since then we've just been playing together and writing songs together. And any chance that I get that RC wants to play and put together a band, I'm usually down for it.
So when it was that like
Turnpike announced that they were, back to performing together again.
Yeah.
Was that kind of your opportunity to, start doing some more solo stuff?
It was. I met Hank Early, the steel player, through RC, and I had written, I'm a lyricalist here. I'd written a handful of songs, and RC and I had started getting together and was writing more songs, and I wanted a few of them for my own record, but I knew that Turnpike was getting back together, and RC and I were trying to get some material for that record, and that's where Chipping Mill came into place.
Ran my heart through a chipping mill, sold my soul for rock and roll, gave away all that I could steal, but I always kept the best for you. I always kept the best for you.
And the rest of the songs, they don't really sound like a Turnpike track, and so some of the songs that he wrote are on my first EP, Better Man, and same with Tin Killer as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess what was it like trying to, take a song that you wrote and turn it into a Turnpike song?
Well, I think lyric-wise, Evan and RC have such a unique way of writing stories and saying something in a different way that definitely taught me how to write myself, but also to include elements of my own writing. And whenever you got a troubadour, co-writing songs with you, it instantly sounds more Turnpikey. And I think that I was able to bring a fresh melody to them, and paired with RC and I's lyrics, it just kind of naturally fell into a Turnpikey sound song, Turnpikey, that's how I call them.
I wanna know you're loving, I wanna know it's true. Sundowns and sunrises, waking up with you.
Yeah, what did you learn from RC just like playing with him for, a year or so?
Well, I learned how to make sure that whoever is out there on the road with me, they feel comfortable and to have a good time. That aspect of leadership, but also the side of business too, the settling up and meeting different people and connecting, and the songwriting lyrical wise came with that as well.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite RC and the Amber song to play?
I do. It's got to be Oklahoma Beach Body, which was actually wrote by Hank Early.
I'm about to lose my whole each day on this Cherokee girl coming my way. She got it Oklahoma Beach Body.
But I think my second favorite one would be probably Big Country, just because it's about Big Country Brian Reeves, and he's from Sequoyah County as well, which is the same county that RC and I grew up in, a few years apart. But yeah, I love all of those songs really.
Yeah. Since you started working on like more of your own independent stuff, how do you take what you learned and adapt it to your own sound?
So I think with that, what Turnpike, has taught me, they kind of went out and they made their own sound, and they made it unique to themselves. And if I've learned anything, it's that I'm trying to do the same thing, trying to be as authentic as I can. I'm not trying to sound like anybody else. I'm just taking bits and pieces that I've learned from other artists now along my journey that I've met and talked to and got some inspiration from. I'm just trying to put all of those into the same thing that make it uniquely my own style. And you can call it red dirt or country or singer-songwriter, but at the end of the day, I wanted to mix this songwriting lyrics with the groovier melodies of like the southern rock and rock and roll and bluegrass, and mix them all into one pot and call it, the Lance Roark, or however you want to say it. And
yeah.
I think that's what makes it unique in its own way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What were the sort of things that you had in mind when you were thinking about your debut album?
A lot of these songs are a couple of years old, and so they're written in a time and place where I was trying to better myself and to reevaluate who I was as a person and as an artist as well. I wanted it to sound like an evolution of a person going through a journey in life, but in the Oklahoma way, and what I grew up with, and the same themes and stories that I grew up hearing and was a part of too, like in Colorado High. I've got a line about, 83 blue Chevy, 4 on the floor with a monster inside. But that was my actual truck, and I did wreck it too.
83 blue Chevy, 4 on the floor with the monster inside, leaning way too heavy the night she said goodbye. Summer nights grew colder, you were chasing that warm sunshine, left me standing in Boulder with a Colorado high.
And so I wanted to incorporate things that, were sentimental and unique to my own experience in putting together Bad Reputation.
Yeah, is that how you prefer to write songs, just deeply personal?
So, yeah, in some senses, I try to write songs that are maybe don't have a personal connection to me, but they just don't seem to be as well written as something that I have, I've got some emotional ties, or I've heard, a story from. I feel like it has to be personal for my songwriting. Otherwise, it doesn't feel authentic to me.
How has the last year been for you? It feels like you've just kind of been nonstop.
I definitely have been nonstop. I hit the road a couple years ago and was really busy that first year. I did take some time out to make the record this year, but once it was done, we were back at it, and a lot of miles on the van, a lot of shows played with some really cool artists, the Castellows, Turnpike, and Shane Smith and the Saints. It's been incredible. Sometimes it's I can get kind of caught up in it and not realize the monumental stuff that I am doing. To me, it still feels like I'm just going out and playing for my friends, and that's what I hope that it always feels like, just to get to go out and play music for the people that love it and want to come hear it.
I guess just to rewind a little bit, how did you get started playing music?
So I got started at a really young age. My grandpa actually bought my first guitar for me, and it was as a 6-year-old, I shouldn't have had the privilege of owning something like that. It was a 1991 Martin D16, and he bought it for me whenever I was 6 years old. He must have seen something in me that, maybe could turn into something like this now. But I started playing guitar at 9. My dad and I actually started learning at the same time, so that was like an emotional bond there that we had growing up. And I eventually took lessons from just a buddy of ours down the road that we lived in, and his name's Danny. And I started playing and started getting into bluegrass and southern rock stuff, and even like heavier stuff like Ozzy Osbourne and Metallica. I've got a huge range of music influences that I try to bleed into each song, or maybe certain songs. But it wasn't until I was maybe in my 20s that I kind of started writing songs, and started eventually touring and going out and playing, just touring, playing small bars and different honky-tonks across Oklahoma and some in Texas. But the guitar that my grandpa bought me is the same guitar that I tour with today. It's definitely getting beat up out there. I think I might have to retire it eventually and maybe make it into a session guitar. But it's the same one that I've played most of my full band shows. I didn't bring that one tonight. I wanted to play a different guitar for this session, but
Yeah, it must have been so big when you first got it, man.
It definitely was. Yeah. Yeah. It's, standard size guitar, and even like my hands maybe are big for the neck, but it's got a massive neck on it, and so I've just naturally grown up with playing something like that, and so it's pretty comfortable nowadays. It took a little while, but
yeah,
it's there.
Taking a look at your social media, you make a lot of funny videos about like on the job site, or like,
right.
Are you working electrician? Is that right?
So I do that so I'm like a 1099 contract electrician. I'll go out on certain jobs that need somebody to come in and fix something for a deadline. But if I'm not doing that, then I'm a tree arborist, and I'm cutting trees down whenever I'm not. I usually am road dogging on the weekends, touring. And then from Monday to Wednesday or Thursday, sometimes I'm working one of the other two jobs, or just doing something to make some extra income. That way I can keep touring and playing music on the road.
Yeah. Is that an easy balance right now?
No, definitely not. Because like my weekends, I'm staying up late driving, for a long distance, and it's definitely gotten a lot better here the past year. The shows have been bigger, and it's taken some of the burden off of having to work as much. But the electrician work is easy. The tree work, on the other hand, is pretty strenuous physically. I guess the electrician stuff is maybe mentally, but I would much rather do something mentally hard than always having to do something physically hard. But yeah, the balance between the two is something that I've eventually learned and I've gotten a lot better at, but I definitely prefer playing music full time.
Yeah. Is it funny to just have to tell like whoever's on the job site or like your manager, like, hey, I can't work this weekend. I got to go to Nashville, or I got to go to Dallas.
Luckily, they're all usually pretty cool with it because they kind of knew who I was first, and so like getting on the job, they're like, you. I think the last one I was on, they were like, man, you're gonna be gone every weekend, right? I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be gone a lot. And they're like, all right, we feel like we're getting to be a part of the support and getting to be a part of the story of how you got to where you're at in the future. And I was like, yeah, well, I appreciate that. So everybody's been pretty cool with it, but it is a weird balance because I'm listening to them, but they're also looking up to me maybe in a singer-songwriter artist aspect. It's a pretty unique dynamic. Sometimes I don't have to work as hard just because, I don't know. I do have to work hard, but
yeah. But they're like,
they're like, all right,
get us into the next
gloves,
show. Yeah. Yeah. Do you see some of those guys around, like at shows or anything?
No. In the blue collar realm, those guys work and they work hard, and so if I do see them, it's very few and far in between because, everybody's out there trying to make a living for themselves, and there definitely has been times where I've ran into a couple different ones that I've worked with along the years, and that will message me and stuff, and give me some congrats and keep moving forward type things. But yeah, they're all workers, so every now and again I'll see them, but for the most part, maybe not so much.
Yeah. Has that aspect of your life made it into your music at all?
It definitely has. The tenacity of growing up blue collar and just being able to work through the grit and grime of everyday life has definitely structured a mindset of, just continuing and just getting the job done, and just pushing through any type of hard times. I definitely look up to that aspect of life a lot. The blue collar industry has taught me pretty much. It's no different than the music scene because everything is tenacious and you got to work hard for what you got.
Picket fence with a rope swing hanging off an oak tree inside of the yard. Blue collar is a hell of a living. To pay the damn rent shouldn't be this hard. Late nights and overstay weekends. Climb the ladder just to fall to the ground. I miss a home when I'm on the road. I miss that road when I'm back in town. If I could only make it to Melissa, Texas, pull it over and sleep for a while, I'd cool it off and clear my head and drive back to you in the morning. Drive back to you in the morning light.
Have you had to experience any sort of growing pains?
As in like music?
Like, yeah, music-wise, anything that were kind of hard-learned lessons?
Yeah, I've definitely learned if the job is going to get done. So I'm like the tour manager and everything. I'm the driver. I'm the settling up person at the end of the night. I'm doing 10 things in one and performing, and just keeping that balance is. At first I thought that it was going to be easier, but it's really not. It's takes a toll. And another thing that I have learned is being able to give those other jobs out to other people, because you get so used to taking care of everything on your own, you feel like it's hard to put somebody else in that position. But I have gotten a lot better about that, and that was a growing pain because I just didn't want to burden anybody else, but in the band. But we're all working on it together and trying to build something that we can be proud of too. So that was a growing pain.
Yeah, what has it been like? We're talking talking a little bit about like not the downsides, but like
Yeah.
what's it like, opening up for like Turnpike or like Shane Smith and performing in front of thousands of people.
Yeah, those are incredible. That definitely makes it all worth it, because if I can go in there and everything fades away, all the driving, the hours that we spent going to each spot, all that stuff disappears whenever you see somebody that is seeing you for the first time. Maybe discover somebody that they will follow and listen to for their life. Those things make it worth it. And anytime you get to go out and tour with Turnpike or Shane Smith, that's a pretty big deal, especially in the red dirt scene and the Americana side of things. Those guys are absolute top of the game right now.
Yeah. What's the kind of impression that you kind of want people, or that you want to make on people when they first see you?
Yeah. Well, coming from such a small area in Oklahoma, and just kind of being from such a rural spot, I want maybe the younger artist, whether they're a musician or they want to become an actor or actress, I want them to be able to see that no matter where you come from, with hard work and just absolute relentless grit, you can get to anywhere you want in life. And I keep telling myself the same thing. This is not where I'm proud of where I'm at, but this is just the beginning for me. And if I can teach somebody else that through my actions, not just by saying it, because words, they mean something in lyrics and poems, but when you're just talking about it, they don't mean as much. But to show somebody through action that you can do it no matter the circumstance, that's what I really want people to take away.
Yeah. And with this new record, what do you hope people learn about you just by listening to your music?
I want them to learn that this is a small snippet of what an Oklahoma artist might sound like. I think for a little while it's been a lot of singer-songwriter style stuff, and I love that. But I want them to realize too that there can be rock and there can be groove and there can be really raw and gritty emotional lyrics behind all that stuff. And just like I had said before too, coming from somewhere small, I want them to know that Oklahoma is on the map, even if I'm just a little part of it. I just went to a museum today and learned all about Oklahoma's history with, different movies and directors and songwriters. Oklahoma's really rich in the arts community, and I'm really proud to be from it and have people realize that this guy's an Okie artist as well.
Yeah, speaking of sound, like how would you describe the sound on this album?
That's a good one. I think that it sounds kind of swampy. I don't know. It's got aspects of bluegrass in it, but it's also got rock and roll, and then it's got alternative country sounds in it, and then it's got the singer-songwriter song "Stay." I really don't know how to pin it down. I would just say that it was, to me, it's red dirt, because red dirt is taking all the inspirations that you have and finding a way to put them into one coherent song or piece or project. And so that's what it kind of feels like to me.
Yeah. It sounded like RC, worked with you a lot on songwriting and stuff. Is there anything that you guys disagree on?
No, not necessarily. I think sometimes lyric-wise, he and I are comfortable enough to tell each other if that line is no good or if the melody needs a change in it. And I'm easy to work with, and so is he. But I think it's came after a lot of emotional connections and being out there on the road together. But yeah, we don't disagree on a whole lot. I will say certain song choices of my own, he might not. It's not country maybe to him, and I think that it might sound more country in my ears, and so I'll choose those songs or something. But yeah, other than that, no, not really.
Did Hank Early also produce this one?
No, so Andrew Bear here in Tulsa, Dead Format Records produced this one. I also went to Kendall Osborne at the Closet Studio in Bixby to record the first half of the album, and then took it back to Andrew Bear's place and recorded the rest of it. He done this one and my previous 10 Killer EP.
Nice. And are all the players that are on this record people that you play with in your band?
For the most part, yeah. The guitars, were my guitar player Cooper. Fiddle is all Tony Spots. Bass, I brought in a man named Andrew Peruzzi, and then drums I brought in Luke Calloway. He's with the Johnny Mullinax band. And harmonies I brought Jake Lynn in. He's the drummer for Wyatt Flores, but he was the first drummer on 10 Killer record as well.
Yeah.
So if they're not in the band, they've played some style or version of of a live show with me.
Yeah. Is this the first time that you're going to be playing some of these songs today?
Yes. Yep. There's probably 3 or 4 of them that I've never played live, and I wanted to wait until, like today to play them, and just bring it down to more of an intimate level. And it's like, I'm experiencing them for the first time, and so is the audience as well.
People want to talk about you and I.
That was Lance Roark. His debut album, Bad Reputation, is out now. Find out more about him and a full list of the songs at kosu.org. Songwriters and Tour Writers is a production of KOSU and Oklahoma State University. Our editor is Ryan McCroy, and our cover art was created by Terry Ferris. You can find Songwriters and Tour Writers wherever you listen to podcasts and on YouTube. You can find and follow the podcast on social media at Songwriters Tour Writers. Thanks for listening. I'm Matthew Viriapa.
Speculate